a pretty one, and I kind of don't really want to get into it as far as that. But what it does is it makes sack lunches, and it goes out where people don't have food and basically gives them a lunch. And we do this every Monday. We're up to about 150 a week now. And so that's been pretty helpful, because we find out that, you know, churches do things on some days and other groups, but nobody does anything on Mondays, so, you know. And you can't really think about getting out of your situation when your basic need isn't even being met. I mean, you can live in a tent, but it's really hard to do anything if you don't have any energy and you have no food. So it's just a minor addressing of that. Also in gaming, tomorrow night we will be having a special ceremony to honor a young boy named Hector Montoya. And Google that, and you'll find out that this young man, who does not live in a very high-end part of town, has saved and saved and saved to get a video console. Well, I don't remember if it said his house or I think it's a neighbor's house that caught fire, and they did not have a smoke alarm. And this young boy, and he's somewhere like 9, 10, 11, he's not very old, went and took that money that he was going to spend on a gaming console and bought every single person in his neighborhood a smoke detector for their house. And you know, that's a pretty big thing for a young kid to be thinking about. So he will be getting, he's been getting special attention, special awards. We will be giving him a special award, like future gaming award of some sort. I forget the wording now. But it will be covered, I think. David Finfrock is going to be out here, which is the weatherman from Channel 5. And he will just receive all kinds of accolades for this generosity of his. And that's really good for a kid. That's entirely possible. The Guinness record we talked about. And we need to thank our lanyard sponsors, because our lanyards we're going to have dropped out at the last minute, and in 24 to 36 hours I was able to contact enough people to get lanyards. And so I owe a big thanks to Madness Games and Comics and to the church, who both pitched in to get the printed lanyards instead of the cheapy shoestring things that we were going to have to use. And that's not bad for the 50th anniversary. We do have concerts, of course, and we'll mention those in a little bit. This year was the first time we ever opened on Thursday as early as we did, and it seemed to turn out really well. We also had a masquerade last night, in case you missed it, where you really did have to wear a mask and actually dance. And if you didn't know how to dance, there were people there that would teach you. So we actually had a cultural thing.
Wait, I thought this entire thing was a cultural thing.
Well, yeah.
I mean, isn't A-Kon a cultural thing?
Yes. Fandom is a culture. Japan is a culture, obviously. Gaming is, yes, it's a country. And they have a culture. And pretty much we all have a culture within our own community. The fandom is a community. We've been working on building that community for 25 years. And at the moment, I do want to run that video.
25 years!
That's a quarter of a century.
25 years, everybody! You know what, I'm going to say that in a British accent too. See, it's not that hard.
Well, since you've run, no security that just walked him out. But just because he reminded me, and I was going to do it anyway, I have a special thank you to Megan Brownrigg, who made this lovely outfit. And there's many reasons we're called Phoenix, and one day I may write a book about it, because no matter how many times people have tried to kill us, we keep coming back from the fire. So, can we run our video? A lot of these pictures are from different years. Some people you'll recognize, and some people you'll recognize as guests that we even have this year. And if somebody told me I could read that screen from up here, they were sorely mistaken.
Meri, look this way.
Look at you backwards.
Yeah.
That was our first year. The years of cut and paste and borrow your bank's copy machine and make friends with the tech. Yes, 3, 4, 5, oh, actually 4. A-Kon 5, many different people there. Walter Amos, he will be here. I don't know who else is here tonight. But if you remember some of these pictures in there, yep, that's not Yaya. No, that is not. That is Ipongi Bang. She was a comic company owner back in the day. And there's a lot of different people that you can probably recognize. And actually, somebody in one of these pictures is no longer with us. Carl Masek, who got Robotech on the air, whether you liked it or not, it opened up a new wave of fandom to anime. And he passed away a few years ago as well. You know, can we stop this dying thing? It's getting kind of old.
I've been working on that.
Keep working, you're not doing a good job. And there's people from AD Vision, one of the earliest conventions. In the middle of the top, I think that's Ellen Whitford. If she's in here, I don't know what she's going to think. That cover was done by Steve Bennett. And James Hong was a guest that year. From Big Trouble in Little China. Adam Warren is over there on the one side as well. I'm just trying to see who I could see that I recognize or could make out. I don't know who those guys are. All of these pictures were put together by my cousin Jack in the last 2 days. That was the wall. Instead of this lovely psych, which is much lighter, that was a thing that we put together every year. It was it was 8 feet, or 10 feet, at least 8 or 10 feet tall in 4-foot sections. And it went all the way across. It couldn't stand on the stage because if you put the weight on the back of the stage, the front of the stage flipped up. Let's see. There's just a lot of people generally enjoying themselves.
They made a styrofoam castle.
Some of those are me, and I'm not even going to tell you who, because I don't look like that no more. From various bands. We started having bands. We were one of the earlier groups to start having bands, even as early as A-Kon 7, when Ipongi Bang did come and her group performed. And then one of them mooned us.
Ah, memories.
And that was the year the power went out, too. All day Saturday. Yep. And Taliesin is in some of these. Is Taliesin in the room? Yeah. Little brother. Met him years ago. We've had all sorts of people. A-Kon 10, in the center bottom is Hope Miller, who's a professional ballet dancer. She put some pieces together with anime music that she used to perform as halftime at cosplay. But we kind of had to not let them do that anymore because they can't get around all of this equipment, which is, you know, we kind of have to trade one thing for another sometimes. Hey, there's culture. There's a taiko drum concert. Cultural. So there. Still trying to see through there. Up at the top is Mari Aijima, the original voice of Minmay. We've had all kinds of folks. Steve Bennett down in the middle there with Christy, who is our head of registration. And Con 10, where we had Tim Thomerson and Bruce Campbell. And it was really, really funny because he was terrified of us when he came in. He'd done all sorts of other conventions for Hercules and Xena and places where people were really just, you know, kind of out there. And when he talked with us, our people asked him questions like, how did you light that particular scene when you had this much budget? And he just stood there with his mouth open because they didn't ask him, how did it feel when you cut your arm off with a chainsaw? Which he had had happen before. So he got a way better respect for anime fandom. And by the end of the 3 days, he really, really liked us. In fact, he actually did use us in part of his documentary called Finalysis, which shows up on one of the Evil Dead special editions. So, go find that. And I think that was at the end of the slideshow? Yep. And those are just the earlier years. Unfortunately, some years back, some of the really, really, really old materials just either deteriorated or just, we couldn't really get anything off of them anymore. They've
We
their
have
life.
loaned everything.
VCR tape does not last 25 years. I don't care how you store it.
But it looks like the great...
It blew a gasket. Aha! I knew I had a founders list in here, doggone it. It smells like vanilla. I want ice cream now. The original founders, me, Edith DeGollier, Bruce Lewis, Will Jordan, also known as Logan Darklighter. Bruce did a lot of our first art. Lee Madison also did a lot of our first art. Steve Triber, David Hazelwood, and Robert Jenks. And that was the group that brought you this. And I don't know if we will get killed if we don't say everybody's guest names. But gaming guests, really fast. Andy Ashcraft, Fisa Casta. She's going to kill me when I mispronounce this. It's either Castellanos or Castellanos. Rachel Laura Patrick Owens. Fractal Fox, Patrick Scott Patterson, that's what we get for dry mouth. Jesse Sosa, and Jared Nabenbauer. No wonder he goes by Pro Jared. Yep. Read the program book. Look at the guidebook. We have one. I want to thank Mike Battle for putting that together too. You guys are awesome, because without you guys, we wouldn't be up here, we wouldn't have a reason to be up here. This is like a whole bunch of stuff that I don't need to talk about.
I swear to God, I thought he was going to say Iron Man. Industry guests that we have here this weekend are Yaya Han, Jackie Cashin, Megan Launcher, Helen McCarthy, Kevin McKeever, Kerry O'Quinn. There's a lot of Scots and Irishmen in this.
No, Kerry O'Quinn's made Starlog magazine, the first professional sci-fi magazine.
Boom! Put that in your pipe and smoke
We're
it.
getting a lot. What? We need more smoke.
Yes, more smoke. More smoke. The bands are coming. If they don't know we're on stage, we'll live. Giles Porters. Take One Productions. Oh, I thought it was a Japanese name for a moment. And Jonathan J. Tarbox.
Other industry sponsors, Funimation is celebrating their 20th anniversary this year. Aniplex of America, NIS America, PVP Filmworks, Anime Midstream, and the Asian Film Festival of Dallas. And companies, DFW Games, Glitch, who sponsors all those green bags you have, Heidi Berthium, the Lizard Lounge / the church. It's the Lizard Lounge when it isn't the church.
It's a lounge for lizards. It's very, very fear and loathing Las Vegas. Oops, I've dropped too much jazz, and why is Benicio del Toro trying to stab me?
Yeah, that's what the patio is for. The Devil's Panties, which is a comic, just don't get the wrong idea. Keith's Comics, Madness Games and Comics, Plano Martial Arts Academy, and Voice 123. And you get to read that.
Our writing guests are Robin Wayne Bailey, Jack Campbell, Esther Friesner. That's the one. Terrence Grape. Ooh, I know him from wrestling. Elizabeth Moon, Lee Martinsdale, and Elizabeth Ann Scarborough.
You can't pronounce the English stuff.
I'm not supposed to pronounce English stuff.
Martindale does not have an S in it.
Did I say Martinsdale?
Yeah.
Maybe it was more than one Martin. Did you ever think of that? Mm-hmm.
Not last time I looked. And we do want to thank our street team who've been all over the place. Carlos Acevedo from Lufkin, Dulce Castillo in North Texas, Cassidy Dumas from North Texas, Ian Miller from Houston, Mr. Creative, Zachary Green from North Texas, Kristen Brenneman from Mississippi, Gabby Krishna from Collins County, Erica Walsh from Denton County, John LeBeau from Waco, and Ruma from Ennis. Ruma, that's the only name we got there. Narayana Sands from North Texas, Joshua Deonda from North Texas, Chuck Foster from South Texas, Christopher S. Wells, Esquire from Tarrant County. Fancy one. Derek Hollis from Tarrant County, and Jack West from Indiana. And we want to thank all you guys for coming in and listening to us and getting ready to have great concerts with our two bands, Rain and Geeks.
And Anthony Brownridge. That's my name.
That's true. At the moment, it is now time for us to leave. And the whole reason you stayed in here was so that, I hope this was communicated, those that come to the opening ceremony get first shot at coming back in for the concert to get a space, because you put up with this. If you left, too bad. We love all of you.
And also Mr. Nigel Rabbit. Thank you, buddy. Everybody applaud Nigel Rabbit!
ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are going to stay in here, you need to help stack chairs and move them. If not, we need to head on outside.
Okay, that ends the opening ceremonies on A-Kon 25. This is the Spaceman 42 channel, signing off.